Welcome to the 2019 Lo Máximo Awards.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while, 'cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while, 'cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your hosts for the evening, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Hello. Thank you so much for being here tonight to benefit the largest gang intervention, rehab, and reentry program in the world. Yes. Woo! Transformation. Transformation is the most important word that you're going to hear tonight. I hate to have her behind me.
I wasn't doing anything.
Oh, I bet. Transformation of lives, transformation from despair to accomplishment.
Transformation of vast sums of money from your pockets to Homeboy Industries.
Really, right out of the box, that's where you go?
Well, I've learned from Father G. We're all on a mission. The homeboys work in the bakery, but tonight we raise the dough.
You're not supposed to ask for money until you've done something.
Why not? It worked in Clute.
Okay. Actors of a certain age, which is what they call 27-year-old women in Hollywood, you know, we're women of a certain age, and we've had to undergo many transformations over the years.
When Jane and I started out, we were young actors auditioning for Cat Ballou and Laugh In. Now we're on Grace and Frankie selling vibrators.
Listen, we're very lucky, truth be told, at our age. If not for Grace and Frankie, we'd be doing late-night commercials for reverse mortgages and walk-in bathtubs. And while Lily and I transform fictional characters, Homeboy Industries transforms the lives of real people, and that's why it is such an honor for the two of us to be hosting the 2019 Lo Máximo Gala.
It's also appropriate that we're hosting tonight's gala because who knows more about street life than two rich white women?
Exactly. And since Homeboy Industries was founded by Father Greg Boyle, who's a Jesuit priest, it's also appropriate to start the evening with an invocation. So please welcome Des Alvarez.
Hello, good evening. I am a domestic violence survivor. When I am in a reflective mood, I think about this and my journey. It took me a minute to get here, to get to this. My name is Des Alvarez, and I am a trainee in Homeboy Industries' 18-month program. For a long while, I did not know my worth. I was in 2 long-term relationships that were abusive, physically, emotional, and mentally. I thought that was love. I didn't know any better. My mom went through this, and it was what I heard, saw, and learned that was love, or so I thought. And then I began to unlearn. I did it for my kids, for myself. My sister came on a tour at Homeboys. She called me and said, "Sis, you should go there and go check out Homeboys." So you know what I did? I Googled it, Homeboy Industries. What else would I do? I read on my phone all about this place. Eventually, I came to see what this place was about, really what they had to offer. I was still in my unhealthy relationship when I walked through those doors. And what did I experience? Love. What I saw was people just like me being supportive. I felt welcome. I was embraced. I love how it felt. I could share my story and not feel ashamed or be judgmental. I left my relationship. I took parenting classes, anger management, healthy relationships for women, woman to woman. I received a certificate as part of a domestic abuse response team. This was the work. These classes were my unlearn with a focus of what it meant to be healthy on the inside and how it felt, not a focus on the outside and what I look like and how I dress. My acting, if everything was okay, went away. My real self came out. Now I am a better mom, a better person, a friend, and a daughter. I am working on my GED and getting my driver's license. The light switch went on, and I don't want it to dim. This chance, it started with me, the tools I learned and continue to learn at Homeboys. And I tell other women, it has to start with you. I am grateful to be a survivor, and now I know that alongside, I want to thrive. Let us pray. Loving God, we are here tonight, gathered for our kinship, for allowing us to be here together. Bless all of our family and friends. Watch over us. Protect Father G and everyone here tonight. Bless all of our donors who support our work and allow us to continuing to widen our circle of compassion as we build hope for those who may not yet see. For we know that through our community, many people will walk through the doors at Homeboys finding themselves and seeing hope. Bless all who helped plan this event and prepare this meal. We are thankful for this time and our good fortune to break bread together. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Des. Homeboy Industries was founded over 30 years ago by Father Greg Boyle, or Father G, as the homies call him.
Wait. Did you say homies?
Yeah, that's what they call themselves. You know, it's short for homeboys and homegirls. Why?
Well, it's just that homies is my safe word. I mean, what's yours?
What?
What is your safe word?
Adam Schiff.
Well, that makes sense.
Anyway, I first, you're funny. I love you. I first heard about homeboys in the 80s from my then husband, Tom Hayden. Yeah. How about you?
Well, this past Tuesday at 4 o'clock, when you called and asked me to do this. No, actually, I knew about homeboys because my cousin Steve volunteered here and there as a therapist for several years. Father G and I are on the same page. And my sidekick, Trudy, a creative bag lady, has something to say on the subject. Yeah, in case you don't know, I am now creative consultant to these aliens from outer space. They're here searching all over planet Earth for signs of intelligent life, with an emphasis on Father G's concept of radical kinship, which we think is an important component of intelligence. And we found a lot of intelligent life here on Earth. For instance, we are the only intelligent life forms in the universe thought to have a Miss Universe contest. But as a species, we've come up short on radical kinship, which Father G defines as kindness, empathy, and caring for others, thought to be the most important part of intelligence. We've come to the conclusion that for humanity to live up to its human potential, we have to make a lot of changes in our human behavior. We were standing on the corner of Walk, Don't Walk, discussing all of this. I asked him point blank, I said, okay, you're learning a lot about us, but tell me this and don't mince words. What do you think of people as a whole? They said they thought it would be an excellent idea. I think Father G would agree.
Thank you, Trudy. I know you could keep going talking about homies, but let's let the homies tell us about themselves, huh? Let's take a look.
Well, welcome to the 15th annual Lo Máximo Awards, celebrating our 31st anniversary. This is always a great night. It's always a great night. We celebrate both the many transformations within the Homeboy family, as well as those of you who have supported us for a very long time. And I want to thank Governor Brown, a great advocate of Homeboy for many years. Governor Brown certainly is a person who deeply understands what Father Greg means to the LA community, as well as knowing that Homeboy is a faithful beacon to the concept of redemption. I also want to thank Jane Fonda and Lady Tomlin for hosting the event this year. In particular, Jane has been a dedicated worker on behalf of our mission and has not hesitated to bring her voice to our efforts. 31 years. It's a long time as a human services agency. And we have studies that measure our success and our outcomes and profiles, etc. But I'm with Father Greg that the truest measure of our success is that for 31 years, gang members keep showing up every day, voluntarily looking for help to get out of their gang lifestyle. Think about that. For 31 years, coming to see Greg and our staff needing help. That's thousands and thousands of men and women whose lives have been changed in a positive and profound way. Now, in addition to being a world-class rehabilitation program, Homeboy Industries has been on the forefront of social entrepreneurship, with successful businesses employing former clients at all levels of the organization. In the coming months, we'll be able to announce exciting news about future business opportunities, so stay tuned. At Homeboy, we have a terrific combination of staff, volunteer professionals who really live out the ideals of servant leadership. Many of you are in the room today, and I want to thank you for your service. Today, we're a $19 million organization serving 9,000 individuals annually, and we've just had another solid fiscal year. Yeah. Yet, we have some headwinds on the horizon. Of that $19 million, a little less than $2 million comes from government. And in 2019, that number will be cut in half. So the government money being cut in half, they change their funding priorities and always seem to vary, and they generally don't invest in community-based organizations that serve our population. The government, feels like they can do this work themselves, or they have their own way of going about it. But we know our model works. We have a 30-year track record of success. We stand in stark contrast to the rest of the world thinks about this population. We don't wag our finger or prescribe what a person needs to do. We provide a sanctuary, a place where they can be embraced, where they can heal, where they find their goodness, and then they transform their lives. And thankfully, we have supporters like you that are in this room who understand that if you love somebody, don't judge them, and give them a second chance, they will turn their life around. In the end, we follow the advice of Dorothy Day. Love and more love is the solution. And we know what works, and now we must be more declarative and use our voice to tell the world about this population. So we've adopted a set of statements about our ambitions for the future that center on 3 breakthroughs. The first is stand. Stand with the demonizing so the demonizing will stop. Second, heal. Foster foundational healing so that no one reoffends. And third, invest. Invest in their future. Stand, heal, and invest. This is our mantra. And as an organization, as a board, as a community, we will center our efforts and voices around these breakthroughs. Lastly, on a personal note, I want to share a few thoughts about Homeboy, and in particular, talk about the people we serve, the ones on the margins of our society. In Father Greg's latest book, he talks about the people of God, people who follow God, and they know life is about living the gospel with joy and always being mindful of the poor. And being mindful of the poor is an invitation to the margins, knowing that if we stand there, these margins get erased. It's not about taking the right stand on issues, but it's about standing in the right place with the excluded and the demonized. Greg refers to this call to the margin as exhilarating and life-giving and renews our nobility and our purpose. And that is what we feel every day at Homeboy. It's our chi, it's our ethos, it's our magic, it's our essence. And for those of you who support our efforts, you are part of our community. You are noble, you have a purpose, you're part of our spirit. You have turned to your soul with generosity without asking for reward or advancement. You have leaned on your inherent goodness, so you stand with us. This is a night of celebration, recognizing heroes and thanking supporters. But it's the collective efforts that make a difference. It's the collective community. It's in the community efforts that compassion wins out over the false promise of gangs, that love triumphs over self-doubt, embracing beats isolation, and kinship builds resiliency. Thank you, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Tom. Our friends in certain red states often cite California as an example of things having run amok. In reality, the man you're going to hear from came into office with $27 billion deficit and left office this year with a surplus of $14.8 billion. And in doing so, he also led the way in addressing the problems of climate change. Our economy is strong, and our commitment to human rights was strengthened by his vision and personal integrity. Let's take a look at the remarkable legacy of America's greatest governor, Jerry Brown. And now please welcome a homeboy with a remarkable connection to Governor Brown, Hugo Gonzalez.
Wow, I'm noticing they even put a step up for me. This is what it must feel like to be Tom Cruise. I hope he's not in the audience. So, you know, I have to thank Kids R Us for the suit and the shoes that fit perfectly. I swear I was telling everyone how do I look, and the one person I didn't ask was Father G. And the reason why is because I had this assumption that his response was gonna be like, son, you're exactly what God wants you to be. A grown man in a kid suit. A music artist once said, why am I fighting if I'm living just to fight? Why am I trying to see when there's nothing in sight? Why is it that I'm trying to give when no one's giving me a try? Why is it that I'm living or trying to live when I'm just living to die? I'm proud to say today that I'm not only surrounded by family, but that I was raised to love those that the world sometimes throws away, behind bars, or whether it just be in forgetfulness. Regardless of what it may be, I'm proud to say that I love those individuals. I'm proud to say that I'm a part of the kinship of Homeboy Industries. And I'm proud to feel that I'm surrounded by family today. We are gathered here today as one for a purpose that's a lot greater than just one. And our perspectives, everyone's perspective in this room, grows into limitless possibilities. I'll be the first one to admit that I made a lot of wrong decisions in my life. But those decisions have given me experiences that have helped me mature and that have made me make better decisions. At the age of 16, I was charged, tried, and sentenced to an adult prison, doing multiple life sentences. And I really didn't think I was ever gonna get out. And I told myself, I spent years waiting for a second chance, waiting for the day that the doors just magically open up. And that day wasn't coming. I've come to learn that life isn't really about waiting for a second chance. It's about taking chances worth taking, valuing myself, and at the same time, valuing everybody around me. I spent 18 and a half years in prison. But during those 18 and a half years, I matured as a man built for others. And that played a vital part in my life for me to be able to be comfortable with my true self and no longer pretend to be someone that I'm not. Then something amazing happened. A person with a vision that wasn't timid to say, an honest government isn't enough. We also have to be effective. A human being that believes in redemption and goes beyond just talking about it. He actually puts his name on it. This man that has been called one of the greatest governors that California has ever had, not only vouched for me, but co-signed for me as well. And by the way, I could use that signature right about now to get that car that I saw in the front. Seriously though, this man took a chance on me, and I will forever be grateful, remembering my mission in every position that life brings to me. And although I'm well aware that life really isn't promised, I can honestly say that for the first time in my life, life feels promising. Life is not about waiting for a second chance. It's about taking a chance worth taking and valuing ourselves and others. And there is no doubt that Jerry Brown has done this in a record-breaking way. So with much respect, please give a big round of applause to my long-lost uncle, the greatest governor that this state has ever had, the recipient of 2019 Kinship Award, Jerry Brown.
I guess I'm supposed to say something here. Let me turn these lights up a little bit so I can see you a little more than you see me. Because this is about communication. And I like that word kinship because it's more than the normal transactions, the market, the business. It's about family, it's about being a human being, it's about being connected. And we all are connected, but sometimes we don't realize that, and many things conspire to obscure that connection. Now, I want to just pay tribute where tribute is due. We're here because of Greg Boyle, and that we ought to say that right at the top. And Greg is a Jesuit. I tried to be a Jesuit, but it's too tough. I can't take all that. Poverty, chastity, and obedience, that's a lot to ask. But I did it for almost 4 years, and I did learn something, and we had Mass just a little while ago, and at the Mass, Greg recited the gospel about the prodigal son. And the prodigal son, of course, is not a very likable fellow. He takes his cut of the father's estate and gets the hell out of there, lives a life of debauchery. Then when he has nothing left, he wants to come back. But his father lets him back. Not because that's a cost-benefit conclusion, but no. It's not because there's a program, not because it's evidence-based. No, it's because that was his son. And he was more interested in the son than the sin. And if we had that attitude toward more people in our society, we'd be a lot better off than we are today. If you think of how you treat your brother or your sister or your father, your mother, maybe your cousin, when they do something wrong, yeah, you react, but you treat them a lot better than you treat a stranger. And what we have is a whole society of strangers. So the way we treat them is with this incredible impersonal system of trial and punishment and cages and all this process. And really, if we thought of ourselves as part of one family, we'd have more empathy and we'd have more insight, and we'd see in the other person we ourselves. Because, you know, there's no perfect people here. Everybody's got a little sin and evil in them. And that's why I don't even like all this honor business, because we all have feet of clay. We're all in the world, and we all need forgiveness. And we all strive, or we should, for redemption. And what we're facing today is when somebody does something wrong, that act becomes their essence in the minds of the system. If you killed somebody or stole something, you're a murderer, or you're a thief. No, not really. You are a human being. You're a child of God who did something wrong, but you're still a child of God. You're still a human being. So that's the concept of redemption. And some things, don't allow for redemption. Like the death penalty, that doesn't allow for any redemption. Life without parole doesn't allow for redemption. And I think any system that has no hope in it is not a system we want to be a part of. That's a bad system. But that's not quite the world. We're in a very punitive era, very punitive stage. People, you do something wrong and people want to throw everything they can at you. And I do think we have to understand, yes, we got real problems. We got real evils and thefts and murders and abuse and domestic violence, all that stuff. But it's also true all over the world. We have presidents that kill hundreds of thousands of people, and they get libraries built for them. No, that's really. I mean, how many other? Well, I don't want to go too far into that, but you know what I'm talking about. The guys up at the top, and they're mostly guys. They ought to be a little more humble, a little more forgiving about everybody else. And that really is what I think Homeboy is all about, and what I want to see our state all about. I met someone tonight. He said, he was a lifer and he got out of prison. I said, I must have paroled you. No, I denied his parole. He still had a smile on his face. I was very impressed by that. That's called forgiveness. But as a good politician, I always like to, a little bit here, a little bit there. So I said no, but then he went to court, and then a nice judge by the name of Ryan reversed me. And unlike the previous governor, I'd never appealed. I always felt if I said no and a judge said yes, then that's it. We're not going to appeal. So we got out. But as the years went on and I got older, I guess I got more compassionate, because toward the end, I didn't reject any paroles. In fact, if you add them all up, I probably approved over 5,000 lifer paroles. But of course, that's a drop in the bucket to the 126,000 people who are in the joint right now. So yeah, there's some pretty dangerous people there. There are crazy people there. There are drug-crazed people there. So it's not something you can handle, too simplistically. But we can make a lot better, and we can do a lot better than we're doing now. And we have to do things. The sentencing is too long. But even when you're in prison, prison is a punishment. But what is punishment? What are you trying to achieve? Is punishment vengeance? Is it justice? What is it? And what are we trying to do? And when you do this crime, how do we know what the punishment is? Is it 6 months in jail? Is it a $10,000 fine? Is it 25 years in prison? What's interesting is if you go back 40 years ago, the sentences were much less. The average time for first-degree murder was about 11 years. Now it's 50 years. And that's going down now because of some laws we signed. So we got a lot of work to do on criminal justice reform. We have a lot of work to do on what happens when you catch somebody. What do you do? What is it? What do you do in a jail or a drug facility or a mental hospital or a juvenile facility or some alternative system or Homeboy Industries? What do? We got to figure out the best way to respond to things that in some cases are very, very bad. But no matter how bad it is, we're still talking about human beings. And so I think what is best here, and Father Greg has really exemplified that, in the spirit of St. Ignatius, who started the Jesuits, thinking about others, not trying for your own glory, but realize we are kin, we are connected. What we do to the other, we do to ourselves. So since we're all in it together, let's make it work for all of us. Thank you.
Congratulations, Governor Brown. still in his prime, and next week is his 81st birthday. He gives us all hope.
So we're going to be back with tonight's remaining honorees and some words from Father G. But before we go to dinner, we wanted to let you know that there's a special prize for everyone in an envelope on your table.
A gold gift card that can be redeemed at the Homegirl Cafe and the Homeboy Bakery. And speaking of that wonderful bakery,
the delicious bread on your table was baked in the Homeboy Bakery.
and the delicious hors d'oeuvres we enjoyed in the lobby were made by homegirls.
Buen provecho. Bon appetito.
Welcome back to the 2019 Lo Máximo Awards. She starred in the hit Broadway musical Motown and captivated millions of fans on American Idol. Please welcome Grammy Award winner Trenyce.
Let's have some fun this evening, shall we? Come on, put your hands together. Woo!
Thought I had my degree in love and how love ought to be run. I got a one-track plan to prove it, guide in my pocket of fools, folly and fun. But love has told me one thing. Come on, I was so right. Turn emotions on and off, and I was so sure that love taught me who was the boss. Come on, if you're having a good time, say yeah. Woo! I defy anyone who claims that couldn't control whatever moves in my soul. I contempt, touched and lied just because you fell for me. Why should I feel uptight? Love has taught me one thing. I was so right. I thought that I could turn emotions on and off, and I was said I was just so sure. Love taught me who was the boss.
And since it was the boss's birthday just a couple of days ago, I figured I would pay homage to her, right? Amazing icon. It was a pleasure to play her on Broadway. This next song, I love this woman just as much as I love Miss Diana Ross. And since this organization is about love, I felt like it's fitting. So I'm gonna dedicate this to everyone in the room. Let's make sure it's good first, right? Don't clap. No, I'm just kidding. I should stay. I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. And I will always love you. I will always love you. You, my darling, you. Bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. And I will always love you. I will always love you. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trenyce.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Wasn't she wonderful? When Father Greg founded Homeboy Industries, he thought that homies getting good jobs would not return to gangbanging.
Homeboy t-shirts said, "Nothing stops bullets like a job."
Homeboy Bakery was one of the first industries the businesses started, and most trainees go to work there at minimum wages with full benefits.
And Lily and I wanted to take a crack at working there before we hosted tonight. So take a look at our time in the bakery.
My favorite homie story was the one Jose told us about when he was in prison. Everybody works out in prison, and there was this one guy who was there, and he was super fit, and he saw Jose working out in the yard one day, and he whispered to him, "I can show you a better way to get rid of those love handles. You just have to do the Jane Fonda workout." Jose didn't want anyone, he didn't know what the Jane Fonda workout was, and he didn't want anyone to see him doing it, but it sounded like he didn't want to do it in the yard in front of the other guys who would make fun of him. So, but when he was in his cell, he could look through the bars across the way, and in his friend's cell, he could see what was going on, and the friend would click the lights to signal him that the coast was clear, and they would do the Jane Fonda workout. And sure enough, Jose lost his love handles.
Jose, where are you? Is Jose out here? How did we do?
Right here, Jane. So,
That's a true story, right?
True story, very true story. And I did get rid of the love handles, but thanks be to Homeboy Bakery, the love handles are now back. But it did work. It did work, and
Yeah.
thank you.
Come
guys.
see me. I'll deal with it. Okay.
Talk to you later.
You know, Father Boyle has written, he writes so beautifully. This is a quote. He says, "Every single homie who walks through the doors brings with him or her unspeakable acts perpetrated against them, from torture, abuse, violence to neglect and terror. God bless you." When homies are finally ready to tell their story, they can claim that pain and take control of it. Father Greg writes, "It would be hard to overstate the courage that this requires, or the time that this kind of journey takes." Anyway, Father Boyle realized that while jobs were critical, it wasn't enough, that more was needed, and that's when they started providing all the services, including therapy and all the other things that you've heard about. But the most important thing of all is unconditional love. You know, if you don't transform your pain, you're going to transmit it. I joined the board last year because I wanted, you know, it sounds like rhetoric, this radical kinship and this transformational thing. I wanted to know if it was true. I wanted to see it up close and personal. And the homeboys and homegirls come in to the organization barricaded behind a wall of shame. And what I'm learning is the only thing that can bridge that wall is tenderness and kinship. And I'm learning that Homeboy Industries is a sanctuary for tenderness. And I cannot tell you what an experience it is to witness.
The people who work at Homeboy or volunteer their services are truly amazing. And the people who come through Homeboy and resurrect their lives, well, they are...
Heroes?
The word doesn't seem to even come up to it, but I'll take that as a suffice at the moment. Heroes, heroes. Please welcome one of these heroes, Emily Chapa.
Man, anyone that knows me knows I'm a crier, so. Good evening, everybody. So, I grew up in a very abusive family with a lot of verbal, mental, and physical abuse. My stepfather, Richard Franco, always loved me. He had a way of always validating me, making me believe that I was somebody. He used to take us out to the park to ride the ponies. We would climb to the top of the roof of the house with our little beanies on, watch the stars and the planets. It was always an escape from reality. He passed away when I was fresh into my addiction, and I remember the sky falling on me that day. I just couldn't believe that God could take away the only person that was good to me in my life. From that day, God no longer existed in my life, and I lived a very destructive lifestyle. I was in and out of prisons, in and out of different rehabs. And in 2011, I came to Homeboy Industries after my biological father had died in prison himself. One of the first people I met, though, was Fabian Debora. I was frightened, I was shy. I didn't know if I would fit in. Meeting Fabian was like having a father here on earth at my side. Fabian always believed in me. He would always validate me. He always made me believe that I could do anything. I don't think he knew how much I looked up to him or how much I had respect for him. Fabian was so respected by everyone at Homeboy Industries. I wanted to be just like him. I even started to dress like him. Back then, he used to have a ponytail. I started wearing Air Max. I even stretched my ears, which was a painful one. I wore a silver chain around my neck. I followed him around like a shadow. I began to have more responsibilities. I was nervous at first, but he always taught me what I was doing was right. After a while, he stopped instructing me and just told me to trust my instincts because I was right. That made me so proud, and it helped me to start helping others. He has given so much to the community. He worked so hard as the director of substance abuse. Whether he gave time or advice or late night phone calls to people in crisis, or even money from his pocket, he always reached into his soul and gave from his heart. He was a great mentor. He told me as long as I'm at Homeboys, that I would be there too. He encouraged me to go to school. I loved working with him. When he told me he was moving on, I was shocked. But he told me I was ready to take control. He will always be my mentor. We still talk all the time. and he always reassures me that I'm on the right track, and I was living and teaching the Homeboy mission, which is to listen as opposite as being told. Let's take a closer look at my mentor and my friend, Fabian Debora. I am honored to present the 2019 Homeboy Hero Award to Fabian Debora.
All right, Emily, what's up, Emily?
What's up, baby?
You didn't make this any easier for me, homegirl. It's all good, though. Oh, all right, so good evening to you all. I would like to say tonight is the Oscars in my book. Look at the celebrities we are blessed to stand with. Homeboys and homegirls, give them a round of applause, please. Before I begin to share my experience, it is a custom to acknowledge our ancestors. I ask for permission from the Tongva and the Shumash, and the land we stand for permission to speak. Permission granted. In 1998 was the year I rediscovered love and tenderness as it was given to me with boundless compassion. The same care given to me by my grandparents, now transmitted to me by my friend, mentor, and hero, Father G. G-Dog, as I come to know him. Punishment was always the answer to what I was told, were my mistakes, and at times this punishment came from when I was doing what I love to do, drawing. I would draw all the time. At the Lord's mission, this punishment was constantly reinforced by an instructor who decided to tear up my gift of art, work of art. Disruptive in class was the statement given by this teacher as he literally tore my heart in half. A reminder of the impact of immigration and what it had done to both my parents in this country. Confused as a child, I began to question my identity, having one foot firmly grounded in Mexican culture and the other searching for grounding here in America. Although G allowed me to see the universal and spiritual language that came from my gift of art, the day of my worst punishment, he said, "Go home and draw me something." I did, and yeah, what I know he did, he saw me for me, and I felt my existence and a taste of my worth. Although this took place, my life took me to a place that pushed me further into making negative choices. I became a drug dealer, which only brought more hurt, neglect, and abandonment, leading me to a life of gang violence and drug addiction. Still, I was given strength by my grandparents and Father G. I held on to this. I know this was an antidote that in some way protected me and guided me back to my truth. Throughout my drug-addicted journey, I would touch base with Father G with hope he would hire me to be part of Homeboy Industries. He was adamant that I get the help and go to rehab. My dope fiend behavior was now projected onto G, so I distanced myself from Homeboy. Knowing my life was near death, reminded of the feelings that my father, the school system, and my community instilled in me, the guilt of not being available for my wife, Liz, and my 5 children got the best of me. My solution was a journey to the depths of despair. I had decided to kill myself in order to protect my children. I had no purpose in life. In this suicide attempt, God showed me through his grace that I did have purpose. The feelings of love and compassion and understanding were handed back to me. With purpose, I returned to Homeboy Industries to seek out Father G. Thank God for his existence. I recall the day vividly. Father G said to me, "You always walk by my office and you rarely stop." I said, "I know, G. You will never hire me." He said, "Today you glow, son. Now sit your ass down, you're next." So as I'm trembling and sweating, I was nervous and eager to show him I had completed rehab at the Salvation Army. I had my certificate to prove it. His eyeglasses got foggy from the tears of joy. "Damn, son, that took you some time." He suggested this 5 years ago. I know, G, but I did it, and I kept my promise. And then I heard those words, son, you start Monday. I was a trainee, but had a vision to reclaim my crown. I asked G if I could be a drug counselor. He said I could do whatever I put my mind to. I went back to school, received my KDAC 2, earning a director of substance abuse position. Later, to become part of the executive team. In between all of this growth, a friend and board member, Carlos Vasquez, introduced me to Sandra Quintana, who also have been with me through my journey for the last 10 years, supporting me and encouraging me as an artist. She invested in me and has continued to do so as I develop my vision of myself as a community activist, teacher, and artist, using the arts to heal communities. Thank you both de corazón. For many doors would have not opened for me without your full-on commitment and investment. Things would not have happened as they have. I am so grateful. I developed and continue to work on an innovative arts program for healing to create access for those homeboys and homegirls with talent. Exclusion and lack of opportunities in the art world was informing my lens. The need is great. We're not there yet, but the tide is shifting. As G has worked to provide access and opportunity, I do as well within the arts. So the time is here for me to model to the world what investment looks like. It goes without saying the world has a hard time believing in the change we are capable of, change that can help make this world and our community safer places. But faith and belief and confidence is what helps me speak truth to power, and G gave me that. Today, I provide services for healing through the arts through Latinx Producers Action Network. I also work for the Alliance of California Traditional Arts, bringing art programming to students in Tehachapi State Prison. I am the Community Connection Director at Arts for Incarcerated Youth Network, building bridges amongst communities, but most importantly, engaging with youth both in and out of incarceration. My goal is to grow Somos la Arte, when I can say my vision is the program that will bridge the gaps that continue within the arts education programming. Even better, through the arts and this program, homeboys and homegirls will train, learn, they will become leaders and ambassadors and have executive positions of their own. In order to make all this a possibility, we continue to need your help to invest in the capabilities and potential of this population, invest in change and breaking cycles, invest in second chances. G has said that Homeboy Industries started with a prayer. I've been praying, and my vision is taking shape and is growing. It will be done. Of this, I am certain. That's right. I'm certain. Yeah. I have to say that with conviction. You know what I mean? I want to thank Homeboy Industries and staff, the women and the men who see potential and hope in people every day. These are the people who turn prayer into action and reality. Father G, I love you, dog. Cara Gold, sorry for the headaches, but it all paid off, que no? Shirley Torres, I know you got me. That's right, Shirley. Thank you. All right, let's give it up for Shirley real quick. Thank you, Tom Vozzo, for taking on such challenged work. I appreciate you. Monica Rosenthal, Rachel Levine, and Jackie Lopez, thank you for your love and support. I am being heard. To the homeboys and homegirls that hold me as we walk towards change and healing, you too are capable. I know this. Carlos Vasquez, you know what's up, homeboy. El Pan and extended family, thank you, thank you, thank you. We now have our first draft of my autobiography, Xolot, coming soon. Be on the lookout. Arts for Incarcerated Youth Network, Kylie Chilling, thank you for the opportunity. My homeboy Azul, Chato, and my brother Dario, Debora, and my sons, much love always. With all this, a man cannot be what he is without his family, without the women in his life. And for me, this includes my mother, Maria Debora. La quiero un chingo. Te dije. My partner, Elizabeth Cuevas, and my daughters, Honesty Debora, and for always keeping me company, little Maya Debora. I love you, moms. My family is what helps me embrace life and all the gifts given to me in support. Gracias to you all for being here and being part of Homeboy Industries and my life. May you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.